Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a stop motion model in Google Slides. In particular, I'm going to show you how to do this to model the process of ionic bonding where metals transfer their electrons to nonmetals. However, these same steps could be used to model really any scientific process where you need to show motion, and Google Slides and copy pasting makes this particularly fast, easy, and the final effect is pretty cool. So the first step is to decide on a theme. Here I've chosen a simple water background, and the bond that I'm going to model is the bond between aluminum atoms and chlorine atoms. I've got element symbols for Al and Cl. I've also selected something that goes along with my theme to represent the different electrons, valence electrons of each of these atoms. So for aluminum, I've chosen blue fish, and for chlorine, I've chosen orange fish. And I've arranged them around to create these dot diagrams. I've also got a little net up here as an extra little added element to this whole thing. Once you've got your initial setup with each atom and all the valence electrons, and you've thought about any little extras you want to add in, it's time to start copy pasting. So we're going to do this over here in the menu of that shows all the slides on the left, and we're going to click on slide 1 and hit the Control-C buttons on our keyboard, Control-C to copy it and Control-V to paste it. Now that we have an entirely second copy, you're going to want to make sure that you've clicked on the second copy, and you are going to start moving your electrons that are going to move. In the case of ionic bonding, it's the electrons from the metal that are going to transfer and go to the non-metal. So I'm going to show that by just taking one of these electrons and moving it slightly. You can decide how much you want to move it. If you move it less, you're going to get a higher quality final look of your stop motion, but it's going to take you a lot more work. If you have big movements, it's going to go really fast, but it's not going to look as nice and neat. So I try to meet somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to move my first electron a little bit. At the same time, I'm going to incorporate this net feature by moving the net to sort of imitate that the fish is running away from the net, and that is my first movement. Then we're going to go back to this menu of slides on the left, click on that new slide, Control-C on my keyboard again, Control-V to copy paste it, and again make sure that you are clicking on that newest version, so the third one every time, and move again. My net moves a little bit more, and just keep repeating that. Go to that newest third slide, Control-C, Control-V, move everything. Let's maybe get a little fancy and start to spin my net, and just keep repeating that process. Now I have fully moved my first valence electron from the metal over to the non-metal. At this point in the process, you're going to have to add in more things, right? In this case, we're going to have to add in an entirely new chlorine atom. Again, the beautiful part about doing this in slides is you can copy paste this entire thing all at once, minus the blue fish. So I highlighted all of the elements of the chlorine atom with its 7 valence. Hit Control-C, click off, Control-V, and now I can reposition those for my new chlorine atom so that these extra valence electrons on the aluminum also have a spot to go. And then again, I'm going to continue my copy pasting, Control-C, Control-V of these slides to start moving over these electrons. So that's essentially the process. I know I'm not totally done here. I would have to add a third chlorine to complete this, but for the sake of the instructional video, I'll stop here. This whole thing took me about probably 4 minutes to put together, so you can see just how fast it can be to create a very effective model. And the coolest part is when you're all said and done, if you go back to slide 1 and start hitting the arrow keys on your keyboard to cycle through them, you get this really great effect that makes it seem as though these electrons are moving, right? That classic stop motion effect. So you can do it straight from here. You can also go into slideshow mode and present it for like a a more full screen effect to see the same thing. So that's how you make stop motion in Google Slides to model ionic bond formation. Thanks a lot for watching.